But yeah, I think that's cool. I'm just curious, before we talk about world building, why did you decide just to go from the city aspect and just like kind of stay around there?
Yeah, well, I mean, early on, I had a it was like a kernel of one sort of storyline going thing, and I thought, well, you don't really need to leave more than say the city and certain parts of it, sort of thing. And I was initially tried to have like people moving from different parts of the country coming in, and truthfully, the book does start a little bit outside the city, and you follow two boys in, and you get their sort of first impressions of what the city is. And I thought that was a good way to retell just the scope of the place, and basically alien it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, the more I started like delving into it, particularly like the religious side of thing, and you go into the like the internal workings of the ziggurats that are around the place, and some of the like rituals and customs that they do. There was no real need to pick from any other place on the, I've got like the map I've done is huge. It's a typical fantasy map. I ended up just and basically that's just that's for, I mean, at the there are other stories that can happen, but for this series in particular, it's enough for me to just to focus on the Kraven and the basically the shady things that happen there. So
Yeah. I mean, I it's funny because like when I was listening to Brian Staveley at one point on a podcast, and he talked about like his city Skullport and like the book name too. And I think a lot of people, like, he has a lot that you see in the books, right? That you feel that it's a bigger world, but really like he does that like just like you did, where it's like the city is a character and we're here for almost the entire thing. Um,
yep,
but yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think though that it's that people that are successful with it, in my opinion, um, are more with this type of story where it's in one location, tend to, in my opinion, have a better sense of how to create the setting or the
yeah,
city or the base or whatever, the space station, as a character, if that makes sense.
yep.
I think that why it works, it works better that way. So yeah,
Well,
that's
and that's
super
the thing
cool.
as well. And you don't. I mean, I think the trick for me as well is not, is pulling back from the tendency to info dump. I mean, you
Yeah,
don't need
yeah,
to tell everything straight away. You know what I mean? Like, just it's enough to like sort of whet the appetite, leave a few
yeah,
breadcrumbs, which you can then pick up later. You know what I mean? And leave it to the
yeah,
reader to piece it together. Sort of things like,
yeah.
this fits with that, and however they put together, or either put together or not. But it's there for the people that are paying attention. Yeah,
Yeah. I That's like one thing I was doing right before my son was born. And I was like, I'm just gonna edit this thing, and I was like, I just have to rewrite it because it was total garbage for my first fantasy. But that's like what it was, right? Was I was like, I'm trying to figure out now like better ways. I'm like, okay, like I have like these like a really, it's kind of like Firewine from the Forgotten Realms setting, whether it's a game or the books, and it's really popular, right? And it's like a really big deal. And it's kind of like your Jack Daniels, if you will. So I have something similar, right? Where but I had it where I was explaining it, and the way I was editing it was I was like, oh, I'm just gonna have people talk about it, like, oh, I want one of those bottles or something, or let's
yeah,
go celebrate with that, let's get the good stuff or something. And then somebody else be like, oh, I don't want that Northern Swill or something, whatever, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just to go that way. But it took me a long time, I think, to figure out what not to do for an
Just
info dump.
bring it out in a natural sort of way. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I think some people do it really
that's the
well.
thing as well. Is that like the prejudices of the different
Yeah,
societies
it's a
is
good one.
is is something that can be easily overlooked. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
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 yeah. Well, that's like Robert Jordan. I actually like how he did it. Is like there's no real racism, right? But like at the same time, like it doesn't matter what race you are within a kingdom, right? But it's
yeah,
like, but you and I don't like each other, right? Because of our kingdoms, which is what I think is always a really cool concept, right? Like, and I like that theme that he discusses, like people can come together, despite things, but then still have flaws, right? Like, but we have to
yeah.
be able to overcome all of them, kind of thing. I was like, man, what a great like theme within a theme, kind of like one of those Russian nesting dolls or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Well, I
But
mean,
yeah.
it's what I think. Yeah, a good storyteller can have layers to his, to his narrative, which aren't always, evident on the first sort of run through sort of thing.